Hello and welcome to the ROPESCAST, the independent voice of the Middle East. I'm Ksenia Svetlova. ROPES stands for the Regional Organization for Peace, Economics and Security. We are a young organization that works to lay the groundwork for a post-conflict Middle East by connecting forward-thinking Israeli and Palestinian emerging leaders with like-minded peers all across the Middle East. We share a holistic vision for our region, where everyone has more to win from conflict resolution and integration than to lose. If you are looking for more information on ROPES, please visit our website, ropes.org. And our very special guest today, and a great friend of ROPES, is Abdou El Kaoukabi of Mimouna Association in Morocco. Abdou El Kaoukabi is the director of the education department at Mimouna Association and the former general secretary of the organization. Since joining Mimouna in 2014, he has played a role in promoting Jewish Moroccan heritage among younger generations. In 2024, he was appointed director and an education project at training Moroccan teachers about the Holocaust, an initiative that reflects his strong commitment to historical memory, combating antisemitism, and fostering intercultural understanding. Through his work, Abdou continues to shape the educational landscape around Jewish history in Morocco. Hello, Abdou, and welcome to the ROPECAST. Ahlan sahlan, so great to have you here with us.
Thank you, Ksenia. Thank you so much. It's an honor for me to be here.
So, yalla, let's begin. Maybe we can start with you telling us a little bit more about your personal background and what led you to become involved with Mimouna. What sparked your interest in preserving Jewish heritage and promoting intercultural dialogue?
Yeah. So, where do I start? I was born in Morocco, into a Moroccan family with deep roots. And one of those roots happened to be Jewish. My grandmother is Jewish. But like many kids growing up in Morocco, I did not stop to think about it. Jewish traditions were just there, part of the background music of life. All the songs, the sayings, the stories at dinner. I thought everyone grew up with that, but I was wrong, obviously. I went to school and realized I was like, wait a minute, most of the classmates had never met a Jew. And worse, some only knew about Jews through stereotypes or hearsay. So I found myself constantly saying, well, actually, Jews are. And I was talking to them about Jewish life, Jewish traditions, Jewish cultures. And that's what sparked something in me. I began to ask questions. Who are the Moroccan Jews? Where did they go? What did we lose? And what can we still preserve in Morocco? And what can we preserve the Moroccan Jewish heritage? How can we do it? So that journey actually took me to Mimouna Association, and which was already actually was working and incredible work in inside the campus in Ahou University, but also in different cities in Morocco. So for me, preserving this heritage isn't about nostalgia. It's also about justice. It's also about the fact that this is actually part of a Moroccan identity. We cannot speak about Morocco without speaking about the Jewish component of it. We cannot tell the story of Morocco without its Jewish chapter. To erase Jewish culture, to erase Jewish heritage, we cannot, continue, or discuss Morocco, or complete the image of Morocco, or complete the book of Morocco. So it's like reading a book, and if you miss some pages or some chapters, you're not gonna be able to read all the books. So the Jewish heritage is part of the Moroccan Jewish history, and we have to safeguard this. So we're safeguarding the music, the language, the food, the synagogues, the cemeteries, and all the history that both Jews and Muslims in Morocco, remember. Um, and when it comes to interfaith dialogue, it's not a project for me. It's personal. I don't just believe in dialogue. I mean, I embody dialogue. That's all my life, my family, my identity sits at the crossroads of traditions, and I've learned that um, silence creates space for fear. When people talk, like really talk, walls start to crumble. So yeah, I'm not a historian actually. I'm just a member of a Moroccan NGO, and I just couldn't ignore the silence of my own story. So now I try to help others, especially young people in Morocco, ask their own questions and maybe feel or fall in love with the answers the same way I did.
Wow, Abdul, this is so unbelievably interesting. I mean, the intertwining between your personal story and the work that you do. And, I think that the whole movement that is happening also in Morocco, so this is something that I think that is deeply important. It's important for Moroccans, it's important for the Israelis, for Muslims, for Jews, and for the whole of the Middle East. We in Rope strongly believe, as you know, that you don't have to choose sides. You don't have to be pro-Israeli or pro-Palestinian only. You can be both. You can be both because you have to support peace between them, and that's how you support both of them. So in the same way, we believe that you don't have to choose sides because you can have multiple identities. And it seems that you are successfully integrating, there's something in you. But I want to ask you, before we discuss Mimouna and it's the history of how it was originated, what were the reactions, how do people from the outside of the middle circle of historians and NGOs, people who have more knowledge about this, how do they view it? How do they view you? How do they view your, occupation with this matter and so on?
So actually in the beginning it was not exactly smooth sailing. I mean, when Mimouna Association first started in Akhawa University, some students were very actually confused. I mean, in Morocco, we used to have 350,000 Jews. Now we have less than 2,000 Jews. So the chances to meet a Jew in your life are very low. I mean, and inside the Akhawan University, there were like a group of Muslims speaking very positively about Jews. So that was actually very confusing for so many students, and so many students actually rose their eyebrows when it comes to the mission of Mimuna. So people were actually thinking that maybe they are just here to convert people to Judaism, or
Oh.
maybe they are here to they are like a Zionist undercover mission on campus. It was a little bit confusing in the beginning, but we had a magic method. And whenever students were skeptical, Mimuna folks would say, you go to your parents, you go to your grandparents and ask them about the Jews of your neighborhood, the partnership between Jews and Muslims. And whenever they would go, and almost every time, they came back with stories of friendship, of partnership, of sometimes of kinship. And they would speak about shared meals, about the living side by side, and the friendship. So it started very, very hard actually for the majority of the members of Mimuna, but it changed a lot. It changed through initiatives like Mimuna. It changed through the work of the Museum of Moroccan Jewish Heritage in Morocco, the work of media, the work of His Majesty King Mohammed VI. So all of these efforts were joined in order to help Moroccans change their mentality when it comes to Moroccan Jews. So for us, even, it was actually in 2009 or 2010 when things started to change. It wasn't about convincing people; it was about reconnecting them with something they already carried in their family memory. And today, I think things have changed in a positive way. Mimouna Association is respected by many people in Morocco. It's recognized by institutions, and most importantly, it's loved by communities we serve, by Muslims, by Jews, by everyone who cares about Morocco's diverse identity. So, sure, I mean, we still face challenges. I mean, whenever there is a war in the Middle East, it affects our work in Mimouna. But we stay focused. We're not here to fight, but we're here to member, to build, and to bring people together.
So two small issues before we go to the next question. First, I will because especially you are saying such an important things, to talk a bit louder or maybe closer to the microphone, okay? Because it's important that every word will be heard well. The second thing, so I cannot not notice that you have the pendant Chai, which is life in Hebrew, and also it has a deep meaning in Judaism. So it's puzzling how in Morocco, obviously, you walk with this pendant. In some parts of Europe, Jews now report that they would afraid to go with something that is associated with, Jews, Judaism, and so on. How do you explain this?
It's part of my identity, actually. I mean, for me, when you try to conceal part of your identity, sometimes you minimize the risk of being attacked by people, but you maximize either anti-Semitism or Islamophobia. I'm talking about both sides here. It's the word Chai means a lot to me. It's live, it's alive, it's a lot of things, either in Arabic and Hebrew, and it shows similarities between both cultures, linguistically, culturally, spiritually, religiously, and both of them are actually part of me. That's something I did not choose. I mean, it was given to me when I was born, but that's something I am very proud of, and I wanna promote it as a way to connect people. Maybe me being part of Mimouna, I'm trying to bridge people between Jews and Muslims, but sometimes I'm also the bridge to connect people using my own identity, my own story, and my own narrative. So I'm not actually afraid of walking the streets of Morocco wearing the high. And whenever I talk to people, especially in Europe, who constantly speak about the fact that they cannot walk in the streets wearing a high or a magnabid or a keep on their head, um, yes, I understand their fear. Understand the fact that they are, vulnerable now. But I also stress the fact that whenever we hide, we just, help others to spread their hatred around the world. So hiding is not a solution. Confronting and talking and communication is the solution.
So I guess in Mimuna, that's what you do. You talk, you explain, you teach, you educate. Can you tell us a little bit more? And to our listeners who are still maybe not familiar with what you do, already I encourage everybody, follow these guys. They're doing such an important work. What is the thing that you do since 2007? Yes, the Mimuna has already quite a history.
Yes.
And the word Mimuna as well, for those who do not command the knowledge of either Hebrew or Moroccan traditions and so on, so also it would be nice for you to explain the meaning of the word.
So Mimouna Association started actually in 2007 by a group of Muslim students in order to promote and preserve the Moroccan Jewish heritage. So a group of Muslim students decided to create this club inside the campus because there were many clubs inside the campus. There were an African club, there was an Andalusian club, there was an Arab club, but there was no Jewish club. So this bunch of Muslims, 10 people, like we always joke about it, the fact that 10 Muslim Moroccans created a Jewish club. It's like 10 like people, many. They created Mimuna in order to connect young people with the Jewish narrative, with the Jewish Moroccan narrative. So it's not easy in the beginning, but people understood the mission at the end, especially the administration, that understand that the fact that that to create a club inside the campus to speak about Moroccan heritage is not against it's not against the constitution. It's not against the government. It's not against the narrative of Morocco. It's complementary to the narrative of Morocco. And Mimuna, why we chose Mimuna as a name? Because it's a name that is full of meaning. For us Moroccans, Mimouna is not just a holiday for picnic. It's not a holiday for mufleta and honey. It's more about the symbolism of Mimouna, which is the connection between Jews and Muslims. During Passover, Jews are not allowed to eat chametz, so they would back in the day they used to either sell or give their chametz to the Muslim neighbor next door. And after the holiday, the Muslim would bring back the chametz. So it shows how Muslims and Jews were very close together. It shows how Jews respected and trusted Muslims with their food, and it shows how Muslims understood, the Jewish holidays and the Jewish traditions. So the end or the last day of Passover was a Muslim Jewish holiday in Morocco, and it's called Mimouna. The theory of the name, a lot of people have different explanations, but some people would connect it to Imuna, which is faith in Hebrew. Some people connect it to Rambam, Maimonides. Some people also connect it to a very ancient goddess in the Amazigh pantheon, which whose name is Mimuna, and it means fortune and chance and mazal. So whatever the theory is, we know that it's a Muslim Jewish holiday. It's a celebration in which Muslims took place and participated. We couldn't find another name to name our organization after. So Mimuna symbolizes our work, and it shows the presence of Moroccan Jews and how deep rooted in the culture are. So we started like that, and then after the graduation of the majority of the founding members of Mimuna, we started working on a national level, starting from 2012. So today we have different initiatives in Morocco. It started as a student-led initiative to celebrate and preserve Jewish Moroccan heritage. But today we have different programs. We have the Muslim Jewish Dialogue program, so in which we try to create space for Jews and Muslims to connect, to have a real, honest conversations across religion and cultural lines. No politics. We have the Moroccan Jewish Heritage Preservation, and from organizing events about Jewish Moroccan heritage to digitizing archives to organizing exhibitions, we try to commit to saving the stories and the places of Moroccan Jews. We do have a program about Holocaust education. It all started actually when we organized the first conference about Holocaust in 2011. It was the first Holocaust conference in the Arab world. And our mission was to highlight the fact that the Holocaust is not only a European story. It happened in Europe, but it affected a lot of communities across the MENA region. So we believe that memory is a tool, and a tool for empathy, actually. And understanding the Holocaust is essential for fighting hatred today. We have people-to-people initiatives, and these initiatives are actually, were born actually after the Abraham Accords, and we try to bring together Israelis and Moroccans, Israelis, Moroccans, French people through different programs, and we want to actually have more people from the region. We want to have Tunisians, Algerians, Lebanese, Iraqis, maybe outside of the region, because we believe that we have to work in a global way. Maybe Latin Americans, maybe Africans. So that's something we are trying to organize for the future, and we work with different partners either in Israel and the United States to create these initiatives. And finally, we have Mimouna campus. I mean, we started in a campus, and we want to keep the roots with the campus. So we work with students in different Moroccan universities to keep the spark alive, and we want to empower them and empower the next generation to carry the mission forward. So we do a lot. I mean, but it all comes back to one core, which is Jewish heritage and Jewish heritage preservation. So it's more than a memory for us. It's like an identity, and it's all about coexistence. And honestly, it's about hope.
So just a personal question I think about. I'm always intrigued by how the people on the other side look at us. I'm Israeli. I live in Israel, so I wonder. And of course, many Moroccans have different opinions, but in general, do Moroccan people know that there are 650,000 Israelis of Jewish Moroccan descent in Israel? And what do they think about it? Is it kind of a controversy? Is it something that, oh, our brethren, people who lived side by side with our grandfathers and grandmothers live there. We have to make some kind of connections. You mentioned the word bridge. We will speak about it in a second. But, in general lines, is there awareness about it?
Yes, I mean, the majority of people know that there is a very big Jewish Moroccan diaspora in Israel. Yes, they are Israeli today, but they are of Moroccan descent. And we know that actually, especially the Moroccan Jewish diaspora in Israel, I mean, when Jews left Morocco and went to France, sometimes they became French. And when they moved to the United States, they moved to Canada, they tried to keep the Moroccan Jewish tradition. But when they moved to Israel, they fought for their Moroccan identity. It was very important for them to keep this Moroccan culture and this Moroccan heritage. So they are very proud of it. And we do a lot of people actually in Morocco watch a lot of videos of theater or a lot of videos actually of concerts where Moroccan Jews in Israel were singing in Moroccan Arabic or playing theater in Moroccan Arabic. So we were very proud of it, actually. If you can go to YouTube and watch these videos, you're gonna go to the comment sections and you're gonna read a lot of comments made by Moroccan Muslims and how proud they were to see their Moroccan Jewish brothers speaking Moroccan Jewish Arabic after years of diaspora. They are actually very much proud of it. However, things a little bit change when there are tensions. I mean, I'm gonna be very honest with you.
Mhm.
There are when there are tensions, things change, and they start to mix between cultural and policy, between what's going on on a governmental level and with just human connection. Um, but you would ask any Israeli tourists from Moroccan descent who would come to Morocco to answer the question more than me, and he would answer the question in a very good way. Moroccans, Muslim Moroccans, never forgot their Moroccan Jewish brothers. And whenever they would meet them, they would say, and the minute they would speak Moroccan Arabic, they would say the word dialna.
Mhm.
You are from ours. You are in Hebrew Mishilano. You are Dialna. So it's a very key word for Moroccans, both Jews and Muslims, to recognize that there is a link between both of them. That there is something very historical and very spiritual that should be kept. So yeah, I mean, this is actually that we try to build in Morocco by creating these initiatives between Moroccan Muslims and Israelis, and also, whenever you have an Israeli group, you always have some Moroccans in the Israeli group. So it's always very it's a very eye-opening experience for so many Moroccan Muslims to understand the Jewish or the Moroccan Jewish narrative in Israel, but also it's very interesting actually to see how Israelis of Moroccan descent see Moroccan Muslims and connect with them after years of diaspora.
So I think this discussion brings us very elegantly to my next question or the topic about the role of Morocco, because Morocco is often seen as also a bridge between different worlds and different cultures. It's also African, but it's also Arab. It's very close to Europe, and so many cultural influences are integrated and playing out in the country. So I wonder, how do you see the place of Morocco in finding the keys, finding the solution for the Middle Eastern conflict, Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and also interfaith dialogue, because our conflict is much more, unfortunately, than just territorial dispute. There are many elements in it. There is also a religious element. And really, Morocco, we know that it has already, by now, many official, unofficial roles, but I wonder how you see these things playing out and whether perhaps the country can play a bigger, wider role here.
We hope. Well, Morocco is not actually just a bridge between Africa and Europe and the Arab world. It's an ancient intersection where cultures did not just pass by. I mean, they settled, they merged, they moved themselves into each other. So when it comes to interfaith dialogue, Morocco has something many countries lack. Not only memory, it's like a coexistence of memory. Jews and Muslims live together here, not only in peace, but in deep cultural and spiritual and even economic interdependence. Uh, uh, this isn't theoretical. It's lived story, and it gives Morocco more credibility that's hard to manufacture as well. Uh, there is an example actually. I mean, a few months ago, when you guys were here in Essaouira, if you remember, the participants were brought to a zawiya, a lodge in Essaouira, and they walked in and they saw Muslim children singing in Arabic and Hebrew. And most of the participants actually thought that we have staged a show for them. But this is actually Morocco. This is normal for us. If you ask any Moroccan about matrouz, which is embroidery in English, they will understand what it is. And it's the embroidery of Moroccan voices. It's the embroidery of Moroccan languages and memories. We see Hebrew as one of the Moroccan languages. So when we talk about Morocco's role in interfaith dialogue and conflict resolution, we're not talking about some important foreign model. We're talking about the local inheritance. We're talking about especially when we talk about a region scared by sectarianism and political polarization. Morocco offers a different model, one that's not utopian, of course, but deeply pragmatic. We try to protect diversity, we try to invest in memory, we try to give space to spiritual leadership. And that's what actually His Majesty the King, who's actually the commander of the faithful, uh, all of them, Muslims, Jews, and Christians, has done through rehabilitation of or restoration of Jewish cemeteries, of synagogues, of archives. And I think it's what civil society does also, especially when it comes to us, the Mimouna Association. So what role can Morocco play? I think it can model a different way forward. One where identity isn't a weapon, history isn't erased, and dialogue is not a weakness, but leadership. In a time, I think, when the region needs bridges more than ever, I think Morocco does have to build one, and I think Morocco is one.
Well, I personally, remember very well, even, as journalist, the quiet role, quiet diplomacy of Morocco on different issues, coordination, whether it was on the issue of the opening hours of the Allenby Bridge to elevate the suffering of the Palestinians who are traveling abroad through this border, or the tensions in the old city in Jerusalem, and so on, so not many people know about it. And it seems to be intentional, I think, it's not that Morocco could not get the PR, but I think it's kind of prefers to do things in a quiet way. Am I right here?
Yes. Yes, that's our way. I mean, to do it behind the scenes, not to speak about it on media, not to do PR about it. It's our way to do things. And I think if you come to Morocco or you work with Moroccans, you would understand this more.
Yeah. So again, we're speaking right now at a very difficult time. The war is still raging, and the hostages are still in captivity. The people are still dying in Gaza. And I'm also going through sometimes the Moroccan media and so on. I see a lot of pain. I see a lot of solidarity. How is the war seen by Moroccan society? How is the current affairs reflected in the culture? Campus also, and so on. What can you say about it?
So I think this is one of the most emotionally charged questions. Especially in the region right now. And it's not just political, it's deeply personal. When people in Morocco scroll through Instagram and TikTok and see heartbreaking images of Palestinian children caught in rubble, or mothers crying over their lost sons, I think it triggers something. It triggers the people say the amygdala. I mean, the part of the brain responsible for our fight or flight response. I think you don't need to be an expert in geopolitics to feel that pain. It's a human, and Moroccans actually are nothing if they're not human. But I think what's often missing from the conversation here is the context. Not because people don't care, but because they don't see it. The events of October 7, the hostages stories, the existential fear of the Israelis, these really reached the Moroccan society. Not out of malice, but due to the media filters, language barriers, and emotional fatigue. And when you're constantly exposed to one narrative, it's easy to fall into the binary mindset. I mean, angels and demons, black and white, victims and victimizers. The tragedy, of course, is that reality does not play by those rules. Um, Now, as for Morocco, we navigate this space with a very old campus. Sometimes we don't use the words normalization. We use the word resumption of the ties with Israel, because Morocco and Israel never truly severed them.
Mhm.
Um, we are home to the larger Jewish community in the Arab world, and for decades, Moroccan Jews have lived and thrived in Israel while staying connected to their roots in Morocco. And even before the Abraham Accords, thousands of Israelis would come to Morocco every day for different reasons. Um, this reality doesn't vanish because of today's headlines. And of course, there is a resistance. I mean, in the Moroccan streets, I mean, you can see it every day. There are people who oppose the diplomatic ties out of maybe solidarity with the Palestinians or skepticism of the Israeli policy. And I think that's legitimate. But Morocco approach has always been measured and multi-dimensional. Um, uh, you can hear a lot of politicians in Morocco, they would say, we can grieve with the Palestinians, and many of us do, but actually, we can still believe in the relationship that might help de-escalate the conflict later. The relationship with Israel is very important now to create, a peaceful solution in the Middle East. We cannot side, just with the Palestinians and, cut our relations with Israel and try to find a solution in the future. We're not going to find a solution like that. It has been years that many Arab countries boycott any relation with Israel, but it did not give us a solution. I mean, we need these relationship with Israel so we can have a solution in the future. But at the same time, as a Moroccan, a member of a Moroccan NGO, I want a very warm peace with Israel. I don't want a cold peace, just like Jordan or Egypt. I want a very warm peace with Israel, and I also want a relationship with Palestinians. And initiatives like these, like people-to-people initiatives, would help actually to reach this. If we can work from bottom top. We can work with the field. We can work with the people. We can work with the communities. We can reach the solution in the future, because when we're going to have an agreement in the future, we're going to have like population agreeing with these agreements in the future. So at the heart of it, Morocco is not trying to pick sides. We're not trying to play the zero sum game. We're not trying to create, a space where there is like a binary approach. We're trying actually to create a space for empathy, a space for understanding, a space for possibility that peace might grow. I think in the cracks. And I think dialogue is very important here. And as Moroccans, we believe that dialogue still dare to exist.
So we in Ropes had the privilege to come to Morocco. It was actually this winter during the ceasefire, a little bit more brighter kind of reality with some hope. And it was very unique experience. It was our first education program in Morocco. We brought 30 students and we had a privilege of you, Abdo, speaking to the group, Israelis, Palestinians, Moroccans, other North Africans, and so on. And I will never forget that me and another participant from the group, we went to the old city of Essaouira, and one of the clerks in the bank, so she asked, where are we from? And I told her, I'm from Israel. And she told me, yes, and I'm pro-Palestinian. And I told her, listen, I'm also pro-Palestinian. Because if you want peace in this region, you have to be pro-Israeli and you have to be pro-Palestinian and you have to be pro-region. You have to be pro-Morocco. You have to be, you have to have these countries in good condition, in good ties with each other, integrated, and creating basically a new reality, for all of us. And this is very far from the zero-sum game that you mentioned. Yes, it's should be a very different game of equality, game of dialogue. So I wonder, since you met our participants and you've been part of our program, what do you think of this people-to-people initiatives? It seems like a small step, a baby step even, but is it a step to the right direction?
Yeah. Well, it was very important actually. It was very powerful experience for me. To have young leaders from Israel, from Palestine, from the MENA region coming together to Morocco to debate history, to argue politics, and to simply listen, learn, and humanize each other. And honestly, that's already revolutionary. We often hear, in the media today that the war is the solution, but I think in reality, the war is what happens when there's no solutions, and more accurate, I would say that when we given up on finding them, we the world gave up on finding solutions today. And I think programs like Ropes remind us that there is another way, one that's, I think, long, very hard, sometimes imperfect, but deeply human. And I think we have to invest more where it matters most, in youth. And you're doing this because if we want to change the future, we have to start by changing who gets to shape it. And the youth get to shape the future. Um, I think what struck me in the program, and you were talking about your experience in Morocco, how much unlearning had to happen. For some of the participants, it was their first time sitting across the table from the other side. And even for us, I mean, Moroccans, Tunisians, Libyans, the people of the region, it was the same for us. And we realized actually that the other has a name, has a story, has a family, sometimes has fears, just like yours. And it wasn't just, Palestinians and Israel discovering this. As I said, I mean, it's also the people of the region understood that um, there are multiple narratives. There is complexity in the story. There are nuances that we have to understand. And I think these conversations were sometimes uncomfortable, but they were very, very, very necessary. So honestly, I think this kind of initiative had to happen in Morocco. I'm being biased here. There's something symbolic, I think, in Morocco, and it's incredibly powerful about bringing Israelis Palestinians together, not in Europe, not to the US, not to anywhere in the Arab world, but to Morocco, in a place where Jewish and Muslim history is so deeply intertwined. And sometimes we forget where one ends and one other begins. So I think Ropes wasn't just a program. It was a mirror held up to the region, showing us what we have lost and what we could still rebuild. Uh, I think I was watching actually people on the street in Rabat and Essaouira, just ordinary Moroccans, just locals. And whenever they would see Israelis and Palestinians walking together, laughing together, sharing a meal, And I swear, I mean, their jaws were on the floor. Not because they were shocked by their presence, but they were actually used to seeing them fighting on the screens, not hanging out in real life. So I think roles changed this image in the eyes of Moroccans, and because I mean, in the region, we have been fed a binary for so long. I mean, sometimes enemies, victims, oppressors, victims again, uh, and we forgot sometimes, something very basic actually. That's these people come from the same region. Jews and Muslims are cousins. They're all Middle Easterns. And they are very, very, very connected spiritually, historically, linguistically, and even gastronomically. I mean, our food is kind of the same. So uh, I think programs like Rogues matter, and more of them should be happening here. Not only because of Morocco can host them, but because we have something to teach and something to learn. And I think we offer a setting where people can learn fear and their responsibility, and maybe plant the seed for a generation that won't just inherit conflicts, but choose something better.
Well, we'll definitely meet again, and we also will meet definitely in Morocco. I hope that this day will be coming soon. And this is also a place to acknowledge our very special, the Director of Education Programs, Einat Levy, who is also here with us on the call. So before we are approaching the end of this conversation, unfortunately, this is the format of the podcast. I would gladly spend another couple of hours speaking with you, Abdou. It's just also fascinating. I want to, although I know it is impossible request, because every place in Morocco is special. But if somebody wants to understand Morocco that you love, the intercultural, diverse Morocco that Mimouna represents, that you represent, where would you take them and what would you show them in the country? I know it's tough, but you have to deal with this.
Yeah. Well, that's an impossible question, but if I had to choose, without upsetting the rest of Morocco, I would choose Fez. Fez is not just a city; it's a memory that's still alive. I mean, it's when you walk through the alleys and streets of Fez, you don't feel like you're visiting history. You feel like you're walking inside history. Uh, I think, well, Fez, it used to be the capital of Morocco for centuries, and it's still the spiritual capital of Morocco. And if you go there, the souks, the stories, the echoes of the prayers from the centuries-old mosques to the architecture of the synagogues in the Mela. I think Fez has a lot of stories to those who listen. For me, I think it's deeply personal because my Jewish grandmother is from France actually, and I used to spend my summer vacation there. And I still remember all the stories and the narratives of the neighborhood. And through the food, the festival, the celebrations, the respect. And every time in Fez, I feel like I'm reconnecting with that spirit. So a place where Jews, Muslims, Arabs, Amaziris thread like the were woven into the same story. And I always say, if you want to understand Morocco, start with this. It's always, it's always challenge you and surprise you and stays with you. I think even after you leave.
Well, I was there the last time, and the first time and the last time in 2008. Definitely, it's time to go back. I was absolutely overwhelmed at the time, and thank you, Mark, so much for this recommendation. We'll try to integrate Fez in our next programs in Morocco. Thank you so very much, Abdul. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the work you are doing. Absolutely
Thank you
incredible.
so much, Kenny. Thank you so much, Kenny, and I look forward to seeing you soon with new faces from the region to Morocco, so we can have another, week together discussing, the narratives and trying to find a solution for our neighborhood.
You've been listening to the ROPESCAST, the independent voice of the Middle East. Our guest today was Abdou El Kaoukabi, the director of the education department at Mimouna Association. We hope you enjoyed the ROPESCAST. Our podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and all quality podcast platforms. We are very grateful to all our listeners and supporters in the Middle East, Europe, the US, and other parts of the world. You can support our work by small donation. More details on our website, ropes.org. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads to find out more about our work with the emerging leaders of the Middle East and our programs. I'm Ksenia Svitlova. Shalom and salam.